Okay, 3, 2, 1.
This is how we feel. 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 This is how we feel.
Welcome to This Is How We Feel. A show
Hello.
where each week we take a piece of media and tell you how we feel. This week, I'm your host, Ryan R. Dizzle. I'm here with Justin Baby J.
Baby Jane in his house.
And today we're going to talk to you about SuperBad. Of course, as always, before we get into it, let's hear from Taylor for the Taylor Bachelor Breakdown. Taylor, what you got for us this week?
Taylor's Bachelor Breakdown.
Take it away, Tay-Tay.
Her name's T. Padula, and she's here to say, this is The Bachelor in a crazy way. Okay, your time starts now.
Peter has to pick his top 4 ladies this week to take to hometowns. Madison gets the first one-on-one, and Peter tells her that he's falling in love with her. That one girl goes home. I liked her, but I can't ever remember her name. She's way too good for this show. Somehow, Kelsey makes a comeback and is headed to hometowns. 3-on-1 time, not as fun as it sounds. Hannah Ann writes Peter a love note that proves she's slightly stuck in high school. Victoria P. cries and belittles Peter, and yet she still gets a rose. Kelly was way too confident going into this date. She's sent home for not being crazy enough, and Hannah Ann locks in the first and final rose. Spoiler alert, Madison.
Time's up. Damn, spoiler alert. Buzza, buzza, buzza. Thanks, Taylor. And that was Taylor's Bachelor Breakdown. I am sick of The Bachelor. When is the show over?
How many seasons do they get? Do they just always find new bachelors?
Well, this is how she described it to me. So it's like they have a season of The Bachelor, and then they do like Bachelor in Paradise, which is like an island version of it.
What?
So like all the people that were
All
a
the
bunch
girls
of
are virgins?
No. What?
Oh,
Did I say
gotcha,
virgin?
You messed up and said virgin. So it's like
What was I
Survivor.
even
It's like
saying?
the
Oh.
Survivor round of Bachelor, where they all get voted
Yeah.
off the island.
Exactly, except there's multiple groups of boys, I think, and multiple groups of girls, and they can just fuck whoever, whenever, whatever. Then there's the Bachelorette, or maybe it's the
I know about
Bachelor,
that one.
and then the Bachelorette, and then the Bachelor in Paradise. Maybe
that
that's
doesn't
what it
sound
is.
as much of a dating show that it does of just like a porn industry.
It's really just everybody getting together and fucking for reality TV show is what it is.
Well, either way, it's a mess, and I'm not sure it's my cup of tea.
Yeah, even though last week and every week before that, you were like, I can't wait to watch Bachelor.
Yeah, I've gone 180 on that one.
180,
Turned right
another
around.
one. We started with the hate, and we went to the love, and then we're back to the hate again. I'm over it. I'm
Yeah,
sick of it.
maybe by the end of this podcast or by the end of the season, I will be back on the train. But
Which
for
is,
right
by the
now,
way, like
I
season
tuck and rolled.
26 or something like that.
tuck and rolled right out that train.
So before we get into SuperBad a little bit here, because we are going to dive straight in, I do want to talk about 2 things. The first thing I'd like to talk about, obviously, we need you guys to comment, share, like, subscribe. Tell us how you're feeling about this, because we tell you how we feel, but you need to tell us how you feel so that we can make this a little bit more of a pleasurable experience for you.
Yeah, let's make it a conversation.
Exactly, a conversation. Second point of business here. Last week, our trusty host, Justin Venus Baby J, neglected to input our new rating system into his show. So we'll have to go back and re-rate Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990.
I mean, we can't just settle that it was a 10 out of 10.
No, we're not going to settle on a 10 out of 10, unfortunately.
No, it wasn't a 10. But
What are-
yeah, we definitely have to revisit that.
I've forgotten our criteria. Do you remember our criteria?
Likability, accountability, and engageability.
So we're going to start with likability. How much did you like it out of 10?
Oh, I loved it. I'm going to give it a 9. I'm not going to give it a 10 because admittedly I remember liking the second one a little bit more, had a little bit more of that action
Right,
that I
I'll
liked
agree
as a
with
kid.
you. Yeah. Okay.
So I'll give it a solid 9.
All right. I'll stand with you on that. I was gonna give it an 8, but I don't want to make you come down to my level. I'll go up to you. I'll make it a 9. That's fine.
All right, cool.
Execution. Did this movie do what it set out to do? I'm gonna give that a solid 9 as well.
Ooh, I was going to drop down to an 8 just
Really?
because they I don't know. I can't really point to something specifically, but just an overall feeling. I feel like it could have been a little bit more bombastic, cool, young crowd.
I
feel
see
like
what
watching
you're
it on the
saying.
second one, I was like, this is fun. I see why I liked it as a kid, but I wasn't like, oh, I remember this is the GOAT. It wasn't the GOAT.
Right. I see what you're saying, and I do agree with you, but I think that your argument lends it more towards a 9 than it should, because in reality, when you look at it in context, it was made in 1990. It's a movie about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The lighting was great. You know, they
Sets
took
were great.
the sets were great. They executed the origin story of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in a good manner. I don't agree with a lot of the choices they made in the story, at least, but
Right.
But giving what it was made to do is introduce the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles into a live action
mainstream
movie
audience.
mainstream audience. Yeah, and I
Yep.
think in that sense, it executed well.
Yeah, you turned me around. I'm gonna bump it up to a 9.
Great. We're going to go with 9 for that one. Engageability. Was I engaged? I'm going to say probably the most engaged out of all the movies, but I
Yeah.
still wasn't as engaged as in watching like a serious movie.
Yeah, there were times where I was kind of zoning out. There was like the action scenes. I'm definitely spoiled by like the Marvel and the DC and all the
Exactly.
modern
Yeah.
action films.
Every
So,
fight
like, during
scene, I looked away. I was like, okay, great. This is fantastic. Can't wait for this to be over.
Yeah, it wasn't like they all had their own fighting style. They all did cool stuff. It was like, all right, now it's a cool little funny fight, you know?
Right. Yeah. So I'll give that an 8.
Yeah, 8 as well.
All right. So what is that? 26.
9, 9, 8. Probably like an 8.7 then, right?
I don't know how to do math.
My math is telling me 8.7
8. Oh, you did the math?
in my head. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm gonna go with that and say it's an 8.7.
All right.
So-
8.7 sounds about right.
Yeah, I like that. 8.7. I'm not bad about it. Here, let me.
I'm hoping TMNT 2 kind of bumps it up into like a
It
9.
got the
and a
same
half
rating.
territory.
It got the same rating that we gave Click.
That sounds appropriate. It
Yeah.
did its job. It
Yeah.
did its job.
I agree
It did
with
it
you.
pretty well.
I agree with you. All right, now to talk about what we're here for. Drum roll, please. SuperBad.
Oh my god, I fucking love this movie.
We had such
I
a
was
great
having
time watching
so
it.
much fun.
Mhm.
It
It's a
was
fun
great
movie.
rewatch.
Yeah, we found recently in our podcast here that Justin likes to choose children movies that make it a little bit difficult for us to talk about, and then I like to choose fun movies that have a very weird place in 2007, and it's very specific. It's
Yeah.
very niche.
It is very specific. I usually go towards what's nostalgic, what's
Right.
what I remember as a kid,
Yeah.
explaining why I remember it.
And
And
those
why
are
it's
those
stuck
are my
in my
favorite
head.
ones because I like get to relive that. Like I pretty much remembered
Yeah.
everything that happened in SuperBad, but it's just it's I'm taking the easy way out. I'll say it.
Yeah. These are more enjoyable to watch, but it's not exactly leaving a hard, long-lasting impression on you.
Right. We're not bringing any insight into the Judd Apatow universe by talking about Superbad right now.
Right.
So the movie was released in 2007. It also took place in 2007, which is cool. It was directed by Greg Motola, which he also directed Adventureland, which we talked about last week. He also wrote Adventureland, which is
Ooh.
fun.
Whoa,
Yeah.
I love that movie. That was very in theme. Like when it came out, I don't know what year that came out, but it was very in theme what was going on in my life. It was a very like
Yeah,
semi
summer.
angsty teenage summer
Summer
right before
jobs type of
college.
thing,
What am I
yeah.
gonna do? What am I gonna do in my life after high school? Kind of movie.
I feel
It was
that.
very like laid back, but still kind of serious. Like it had all that Kristen Stewart, Ryan Gosling drama.
Exactly.
Oh god, I really like that movie. So it really explains why I like this guy's stuff.
That was Ryan Gosling, wasn't it?
Oh, it sure was.
I didn't even.
Isn't that weird?
Well, wait. No, it's Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, Ryan Reynolds? No way.
Yeah, it's Ryan Reynolds. It's not Ryan Gosling. Yeah, it's Ryan Reynolds. You're gonna look it up? Do I have to wait for you to look it up?
I am looking it up. I'm sorry.
Okay, great. Like I'm gonna be wrong. It's Ryan Reynolds. He fixes the stuff at the eventually.
Wow. Oh man, he's so hot in this movie. Yeah, it is Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Wow, how did I get that wrong?
I don't
I was
know.
just thinking of another hot young
Another Ryan.
actor with the
Yeah.
same kind of hair and the same kind of
Same
Ryan
name.
first name.
Mm-hmm.
Well, close enough.
Well, anyways,
Not really.
yeah. So he wrote and directed Adventureland. He also directed Paul in the movie Keeping Up with the Jonases. It was produced by Judd Apatow and Judd Apatow Studios, which is famous for all the movies that Judd Apatow makes. All these Seth Rogen comedies, a couple Ben Stiller comedies, stuff like that. Now this film was actually written by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, so they're a writing duo. They write a lot of movies together. I think they wrote Pineapple Express. They wrote this movie. They wrote a bunch of Seth Rogen's movies. This film was actually written by them in their teen years, and it's actually loosely based on their own experiences as seniors in Vancouver in the late 90s.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew that Jonah Hill was playing Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Once I was like, wait, Seth Rogen is obviously in the movie. This is very like akin to what he would be like when he was a kid. I definitely feel that. I love
Yeah.
that.
So that's why their character names are Seth and Evan. It's a little homage to the
Do
fact
I
that
know
it's
who
them.
Evan Goldberg is? Is that like a famous person that I should
I
be
don't know.
recognizing, or is it more like a writer?
You know you've watched and loved almost probably all of his movies because him and Seth have written
face
almost
wise,
everything.
I don't recognize this guy.
Yeah, I don't think
but
you
okay.
would. So in 2009, when they were at an event panel, they said that Fogel was actually also a real friend of Rogen and Goldberg. Yeah, Rogen actually wanted to play Jonah Hill's character Seth, but he was so much bigger, and his age was obviously way different, so he just played one of the police officers.
Wow. Was Jonah Hill doing a lot before this movie? Because I want to say this really shot him up there. I want to say that this really made his career.
No,
but I don't know if that's true.
This is the first thing I remember Jonah Hill in, but I can't. I mean, he was in Click.
He was in Click. That is
same
true.
year.
It wasn't a lead role, but he was in Click.
He was in Click the same year, yeah. So I don't know, and I think that also has something to do with. I think Judd Apatow worked on Click a little bit too, so that makes sense.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, but film actually took 7 years to complete because they started scripting in like 2000. I mean, like they wrote the story while they were still teenagers, but they started scripting in 2000, and they didn't film until 2006, 2007.
That is a very, very common thing with all of Seth Rogen's, all of his work. Like he has always said, like, "Oh, I wrote this when I was in high school," and then we just decided to do it.
Yeah,
So like, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Everything, like Freaks and Geeks. I started watching that, and I saw a little behind the scenes, and like they have been doing that since forever.
yeah. It's good to see that he's able to, call back to his earlier work and do it in nowadays,
Yeah.
And like that only means that the new stuff that he's writing is going to be bomb. Because if this is what he was writing when he was a fucking teenager, can you only imagine?
Right.
So
Yeah,
before
I can't imagine writing a full script when you're a teenager and then eventually being able to make that into real life. That's really awesome.
No, not at all. Yeah. So, just a brief summary before we go into the plot here. It's two high school best friends who are best friends forever. Jonah Hill and
Best
Michael
friends
Cera,
forever.
have
Justin
Seth and
Ryan.
Evan,
Right.
go on a mission to provide alcohol for a graduation party in hopes of losing their virginity. I'll say that sentence to describe the movie is pretty spot on. Although
That is very spot on.
I would add like hilarity ensues or something at the end because obviously that's like just the backbone of what's happening.
Right. Yeah, because like they're going on a mission to get the alcohol. That's like probably like the first half of the movie. The rest is trying to deal with that fucked up mission, like the mission that never went through, the mission that failed.
Exactly. All right, let's get into this plot a little bit. So we open up and we got Seth driving over to Evan's house. We know that Seth and Evan are about to graduate from high school. They've been best friends for a year, but they face an uncertain future. We know that Evan has been accepted to Dartmouth, which is a very, very prestigious school. But Dartmouth. But Seth, unfortunately, doesn't have the brains as Evan, and he has to go to a local state university.
Mm-hmm.
Both boys are notably horny from the beginning. But
God, it's so awkward.
it is.
This is I know it was filmed the same year as Click, but it has so much more of that 2000s like slapstick. They
Yeah.
really just like were like, all right, guys, y'all can say whatever the hell you want.
Well, I
Try to be
wouldn't
as
say-
vulgar as possible.
Yeah, I wouldn't say slapstick so much, but they are like it's very high school profanity, and I enjoy it. It's like real. It's real life,
Yeah.
It's very true to nature.
It's like so vulgar that it kind of catches you off guard and it kind of makes you laugh in that way. Not that it's funny because of how vulgar it is, but it's funny of like how can you really create what a fucked up sentence, you know?
You forget that they're even cursing after a while, but then like every once in a while they'll say like sucking. I don't want them to think I suck dick at fucking pussy, and it's like what is that sentence?
I know. And they say it so like smoothly and just go right into the next one. It's like just like a lingo, like a little language of their own.
Yeah, I bet Seth Rogen and his Evan Goldberg, I bet they had a fun time working with them on how to be more like them in high school.
They really went to town. And Jonah Hill really embodied that character. Michael Cera would say something kind of weird every now and then, but Jonah Hill would deliver those fucking lines, honey.
Yeah, and one after the other, and fast as hell, and nonstop. He's great. He's like that in a lot of his movies, but I like it. I enjoy it.
And I like how the synopsis said that it's like trying to do this in hopes of losing their virginity, because it's such a common coming of age story. Oh, let's all lose our virginity by the end of the year. But it's not overtly, let's make a pact to lose it. They're trying to lose it, but it's not like that's, this is the plot of the movie, guys.
Right.
It's very much like hidden in. It's like very organically worked in.
Exactly. So no matter how horny they are, they're still virgins. And it's kind of like eminent how horny they are, because on the very first scene, you see Seth driving up to Evan's house, and he calls Evan to talk about which porn site he should subscribe to.
Oh yeah.
And being as
Perfect 10, Bang Bus, Badgetastic.
right, and the whole reason why he has a dilemma with this is because he needs to choose one that will, because his parents can see his bank account bill, so he needs to choose one that doesn't have a saucy name.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mean to imply that this film is in any way, shape, or form subtle, but it's not screaming the theme or the plot at you. It's just
Right.
like vulgarly giving you what they're doing, which leads into the next action, which leads into the next scene.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, so he's driving up, picks him up, they go to school. Well, first they stop at, they park at the school, and then they walk to a local convenience
Gas
store,
station, right?
7-Eleven, yeah. They get some snacks, they go outside, and we find out that they're not very popular because obviously during the conversation they say how much they're virgins and how Seth only got a hand job and 3/4 of a blowjob from a girl that he dated.
Right. Correct.
And so we know that they're losers. We know that they're not great. But to rub it in a little bit, to add insult to injury, they go outside and get spat on by I don't know. I wouldn't call him a popular kid, but I guess he's a popular kid.
It kind of like shows just how low on the social ladder they are. They're not getting picked on by cheerleaders and football guys because that would be too easy. They're getting picked on by the weirdos
Exactly.
smoking outside the gas station.
The normies.
The guy with the mullet and the thin Harry Potter glasses
Ugh.
next to two other weird-looking guys.
No.
This guy hawks the... I have never liked loogies growing up. I never understood why guys would just spit everywhere. If they were outside, they would just spit on the ground. I'm like, people, like, everybody goes about their day without spitting on the ground. So why do you feel like you need to get rid of the saliva in your mouth by spitting it visibly? And this guy hawks the most disgusting loogie I've ever seen at him.
I mean,
Just
I
to,
want to...
like,
I want to
just
come
to
in
rub
defense.
in how low these guys are.
No, I want to come in defense. I spit on the ground sometimes. Sometimes, I gotta phlegm. I gotta get it out, man. I don't know what to tell you.
No, I absolutely disagree with you. I'm so sorry.
What are you supposed to do with it? You're supposed to swallow it, Justin? You're putting bad stuff back
I
into
didn't
your body.
want to say the word swallow, but you don't spit it. Like, that's so disgusting.
Okay, so I'll just keep it in my mouth and swish it around my teeth. Is that what you want? You want to swish my phlegm around your teeth, Justin?
I'm not saying don't swallow it. I just didn't want to say swallow it.
No,
but
no.
it's implied that everybody else swallows it.
All right. Look, when you're in the sink, right, and you're brushing your teeth, and you got all that toothpaste all over your mouth, do you spit it out
That's
into the sink?
toothpaste.
Oh,
That's hazardous toothpaste that you shouldn't be swallowing.
and what is phlegm, Justin?
And
What is
mucus
phlegm?
are not hazardous. Your
They-
body makes it, and when you swallow it, your body breaks it down and uses it again.
Look, I'm not a scientist, Justin. I'm just saying, when I'm sick and I cough up a lung and it's yellow in that phlegm, that's not good things in my body. I want that out. I'm hawking a loogie onto the floor. Regardless, he
okay,
hawks
all right.
he hawks a solid loogie onto this dude's
So
shirt,
nasty.
and I will
it
agree
was
with you
so solid
there.
that it doesn't drip at all. It lands right where it lands.
Yep, it lands right where it's gonna land, and that's it. That's the end of the story. They say he's not they're not invited to his graduation party, and that's pretty much it. Now we do know that Seth and Evan have some female classmates that they are attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
Seth is pretty sure that Jules, who is played by Emma Stone, who is famous for
gorgeous.
a million things,
Gorgeous woman.
not gonna go into it.
So charming.
Pretty sure that Jules has returns his interest, but Evan is oblivious to the fact that Becca, who is played by Martha McIsaac, who I don't know anything that she's in, and I didn't do research on her, wants to get with him.
Oh, Becca.
She
Oh,
has
poor Becca.
He has no idea.
Watching this movie over again, once I saw Becca in her normal state, I was like, oh, honey, you're about to get so drunk.
Yeah, poor thing.
It's like two different characters at that point.
Yeah, she gets sloshed.
And it's so like, wow, Evan is so oblivious because she was feeling Evan so hard. Her eyes lit up when she saw him. She was like, hey, are you coming to this party? You know, maybe you can come over. She's doing all the right things, doing all the little hair flips and batting her eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, she obviously wanted it, and he is oblivious the entire time, so it's great.
And it's not the first time this kind of cringy comedy is coming into effect. It's already been in full effect the whole movie. But this is one of those scenes where it's like no music. It's just quiet. It's just two characters going back and forth, and you feel such an awkward tension between them.
Yeah, and it's mostly just because she's like obviously flirting, and he's like, no, well, I'm just trying to not hang out. I party.
Yeah, I go to sophisticated parties. I just
Well,
don't
you
go
know,
to.
it was such a rager. Me and my buddies were like fucking it up.
Yeah. And on
Um,
the other hand, Seth and Emma Stone, there's chemistry going back and forth. They're both into each other, but he's blind to how into him Emma Stone is.
Right.
It's not as
Yeah, he
obvious.
thinks-
It's nowhere near as obvious as Becca, but she's definitely into him. They got some chemistry. They
Yeah.
got some back and forth banter.
He thinks that the only way she would ever get with him is if she's intoxicated, which is almost exact opposite of the truth. But we'll get to it.
Right.
Basically, the boys are talking, and Seth knows that Evan likes Becca, but he brings it up, and then Seth is like, "Man, fuck Becca. Becca's a bitch." And Evan's like, "You know what? I'm sick and tired of you calling this girl that I like so much a bitch."
Mm-hmm. And then he's got to spill the beans at that point.
He goes,
why do you
really
hate
Becca so much? Seth goes, "All right, man, chill the fuck out. Let me tell you a story." So basically, to surmise it, Seth had an addiction to drawing penises, and Becca happened to unfortunately see one of those drawings because of an accident that happened, and she was trying to be a nice person and pick up his drawing. But she ratted on him. He got told to the principal, and he never drew a dick again. But because of that, Seth hates Becca, and he thinks that she threatens their close relationship that Evan and Seth share.
They never really followed up with that one. I know if you're listening to this pod, if you've ever seen Superbad, you know the dick scene. They never really follow up with that. Does Becca actually remember Seth as a dick drawer? Does she hold that against him? Was it just
Right.
a weird thing as a kid and she kind of forgot about it?
It seems like everyone else has forgot about it except for Seth.
Right. I mean, we don't know how public it was made. We just know that she screamed and then it showed him in the office. So
Right.
even if it was only Becca who's seen, does she actually feel some type of way for him to feel like Becca is a bitch?
Well,
you know?
I feel like the reason he feels like Becca's a bitch is because he got to deal with all the consequences of having drawing the dicks.
Right.
Like the principal was a religious zealot or something. He was not a zealot, that's the wrong word. He was a religious freak, and
freak is a much better
well,
word.
I don't care. He's a religious.
Who's a very religious man.
He was a religious dude who made him basically go into therapy because he thought the devil was in him, the dick devil.
The dick devil, yeah. That
Anyways.
was very visual scene that, of course, what was it, 2007? I was 11 at the time. This was my cup of tea. This was my jam. This was my morning cup of coffee. That shit had me in tears as a kid. I don't know how everyone else felt about it. You were probably older. If you were older, maybe you were like, I can't believe they're showing this nowadays,
No, yeah, that movie when I was a kid was hilarious. I can't.
So fucking funny. This was groundbreaking.
So we see them in home ec, and Jules invites Seth and Evan to their graduation party, basically. And then their painfully nerdy friend Fogel walks in and says that he's about to get a fake ID. So Fogel is
So
actually played by
very
Christopher Mintz-Plasse. Christopher Mintz-Plasse. We know him from a bunch of stuff. He's in that Role Models movie, I think. He's in.
Oh, yeah, he is.
He's in Pitch Perfect.
And that's another quotable line. Chicka, chicka, yeah.
Yeah.
Fake ID, fake
Fake
ID.
ID. Chicka, chicka,
I've said that
yeah.
multiple
Fake
times
ID,
in my
fake
life.
ID, yeah. Chicka, chicka, yeah. Fake ID, fake ID,
fake
yeah.
ID.
Chicka, chicka,
Yeah, we're gonna make a
fake
remix of that
ID,
song.
Fake ID, yeah. I love that. I love the chicka, chicka, fake ID, fake ID. I love it. So Fogel says that he's about to get a fake ID, and Seth hears that and is like, I'm gonna get alcohol for Jules's party.
Because at this point, obviously, he only thinks that Jules wants him. Jules will only be able to want him if she is drunk. And not
Exactly.
only that, instead of using the charm and charisma that he already has been using on her to make her like him, he thinks that actions will do something for him at this point.
Exactly. And so because Becca's also going to the party, he thinks that they're going to fuck. Seth and
Yeah.
Evan are going to fuck tonight. They are going to
Yeah.
lose their virginities.
Yep, this is that moment in every teenage movie. This is the moment, guys. We gotta plan it out so we can lose our virginity. So
Right.
that in college, we can not suck dick at fucking pussy.
And it's at this point that things start to go immediately wrong. This is kind of the reason I like this movie so much, because it is a coming of age story, but it's also kind of an underdog story in the sense that they have every single thing in their night go wrong and somehow still are able to make it to the party. But it's also kind of a realistic movie because at the time that they actually make it to the party, they still don't get what they want. But we'll get to that. We'll talk about it a little bit later.
Right.
So basically, things start going immediately wrong. They get back to where Seth's car was parked, and they find out it's towed because he parked in the faculty parking lot.
And that's one of those where also their actions lead right into the next one. Like
Right.
it was a passing comment, like, "Hey, you can't park here. That's a faculty thing." And of course, Jonah Hill, being Seth in this movie, he was like, "I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Park it over here."
It's
and then
true that
because of
their
his-
actions are the things that bring them to their problems most of the time. I'll agree with that, yeah.
And it was also because of Seth's overconfidence and not giving a fuck about anything else. He's very selfish at this point in the movie. It's because of that things go wrong.
Right, yeah. So Seth's car is towed, and then Fogel arrives, and we see his fake ID, and Seth and Evan are just so mad because he's printed the name McLovin on it. One word,
Only McLovin,
one name,
word.
nothing else.
Not only that, but he also put himself as 25.
Oh my god!
And when I was looking at it, it said he was 25, but it also said that it was issued basically when he was 16, and it was a sideways license. And if all my bartender friends out there, sideways license means over 21.
Means
So
21. Yeah.
he could not have gotten that license at 16.
That's weird. Well, good catch,
Yeah.
Justin.
Thank
So
you,
his
thank
fake
you.
ID even sucked.
Yeah, it was completely wrong. Everything about. I wonder who we got it from. That's a whole nother side story.
Mhm.
Whoever's making these fake IDs. I don't know how nerdy Fogel, finds out of a fake ID guy.
Right. Yeah. It's the same fake. It's the same guy that another one of their friends got a fake ID from, which they talk about.
Gotcha.
Very briefly, yeah. So because their car is towed, and I guess Fogel has to work or something, there's like a little
Yeah.
bit of a time skip, and then we see Fogel coming out of the supermarket that he works at, meeting up with Evan and Seth. Evan and Seth
After
start
they-
roasting him about his vest, and being fed up with everything that's going on, Seth decides, you know what? Fuck you, Fogel. It's because of you that we're in this mess, and guess what? Big ol' boy Seth's gonna get us out. We talked a lot during the commentary about how Seth kind of radiates my energy.
Yeah.
And in this scene, I can definitely see that. But I think I like to think that I'm less of a dick about it. I feel like I do.
No, of course.
I do. I am the person that always wants to step up and get the thing done. And I
Right.
usually am the dad and being like, I will make this happen. I will get the alcohol, or I will do this. But Seth goes, "You fucked it up, Fogel. Your fake ID sucks dick. Now I gotta steal."
Right.
And it's like-
you both kind of can do. You might have selfish reasons for doing something, but you won't use selfish actions in order to get that done. You will kind of gather the team, and even if you think you're the only one who can do it, you will phrase it as, I'm gonna save us. Don't worry, guys. I got this.
Exactly.
Whereas Seth is very selfish and is like, well, if you can't do it, then I guess I gotta do it, and it's your fault about it.
Right. Also, if he really did radiate the same energy as me, I think he would take a second and think about it a little bit more. We're gonna steal the alcohol. You don't have any other friends or friends with brothers or something that has there's always somebody that's 21 that can buy us alcohol. You don't have to go steal it. This is a lot. We have $100.
He already has the money. He's already he got the fake ID. I don't know who this fake ID guy is, but why don't you give the money to him for him to buy the alcohol?
Yeah, maybe he's got a fake ID. He can do it.
Not that he has a fake ID, but that I'm assuming the guy is over 21.
Or
Making
or
a
he's
fake ID
or he's just
must-
making fake IDs at 18. Listen, what's the movie
Yeah,
Accepted?
I guess so.
I think
guess
Accepted
so.
and Accepted the beginning with Justin Long. He's making fake IDs for all his high school friends.
Is he really? Is that a thing?
Yeah, that's the beginning of Accepted. Do you remember that movie?
I haven't seen that in a long time. The only thing I remember about that movie is South Harmon Institute of Technology.
Put it on the list. Put it on the
They
list.
were the shit sandwiches.
It's on the list. Shit sandwiches. So he goes in. So Seth walks into the store and he immediately has a panic attack and start having these weird panic attack induced dreams.
I love it. This is something you don't really see in movies nowadays, where
The scenarios. It's like
we're going on a different path than what's
Yeah.
actually happening, but they're not going to be like boo, 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 a
Exactly.
little fade into a dream.
exactly.
It's
We're
like
showing
at this point you're like, oh my god, this is really happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's not until Seth's neck gets slit open that you're like, this can't be real. This is not the movie. I
Well,
signed
no,
up
they
for.
cut back a bunch of times, and that's when you realize, okay, so the first one is him just getting all the stuff, and then the dude goes, "Yep, $80," and he hands him $80, and you're like, "Oh,
An $80
this
bill,
is
yeah.
fake. This is fake." So he goes into the liquor section. He first has it's all the scenarios that play out in his head. Basically, is what's happening. So, like, the first scenario is he gets all the alcohol, he gets to the cashier, it's totally no problem, and he pays him. He's like, no, that's not going to work. Oh, well, actually, before he even does that, I should mention, he walks in, sees the cop, and says, hope Piggy can run.
Piggy can run.
Hope
I love
Piggy
that.
can run. Yeah, that was a good
I love
one.
that especially because he's making a fat joke when
He's
himself. I don't want to call himself a piggy, but come on.
He a little...
Yeah. The kettle calling the pot black.
Exactly. And then the second scenario he plays out is an old lady who's also in the liquor section would buy it for him.
Oh, that sweet old lady.
Yeah, and then she even smiled at him afterwards, and he was all, what the fuck, no, and looked away. But I was like,
I hope you enjoy fucking Jules tonight.
exactly. I hope you enjoyed fucking Jules tonight. And then the
Love
third
that.
and final scenario that he thinks of is that he goes to steal it, and the cop goes, don't even think about it. And Seth goes, I never even had a choice. And then they fight, and then the cop slits his throat open, and there's blood everywhere.
God.
Cut
I
to
love it.
Seth walking out of the store. He couldn't do it. There was a security breach.
And it's at this point where you also see that this is not a Ryan thing, because even if he would have bitched out, he would have also taken the blame. As much as he would have taken all the responsibility, he would have also taken the blame.
Yeah, I
He would
wouldn't have
been
said
like,
there was a secret
"Guys,
security
I
breach. I'd
couldn't
have been
do
like,
it."
listen, I chickened out. I saw the dude, and like, no, I'm not stealing. It's not happening.
Yeah.
I would never have done that. I would never have put that idea into motion.
Mm-mm.
That was a bad idea from the beginning. So, since he can't get the alcohol, him, Seth, Evan, and Fogel all go to a liquor store. Fogel's actually successfully able to buy liquor. Like, he walks into the store, he drops some beer on the ground, which is kind of fucked up, and then he grabs everything they need. He gets the liquor. As soon as he goes to pay, bop, he gets knocked out. He gets unconscious. He goes unconscious by a robber. The lady just starts screaming. The guy starts taking all the money. Our other boys, Seth and Evan, they're looking at this woman who recently got breast reduction surgery, trying to make sure her boobs still look nice. So they miss all of the robbery. But when they come back, they see that Fogel is talking to cops. So they assume he's about to get arrested for using his fake ID. Now, the cops that walk in, Justin, are you in the notes right now?
Yeah.
Get out of the notes.
Why? I'm
Get out of the notes.
Okay.
Fucking bitch.
It's kind of helping me to
No.
put it together.
Okay, yeah,
so-
and you know what? There's a fucking third degree quiz show coming up, and I don't want you to know the answer.
I didn't see that.
Get out of my notes.
Okay, fine. I'm running blind over here then.
I will tell you when you can come back. I will invite you to my notes.
Okay. Okay.
This is the
Fair
problem with using Google Docs, folks. He can just jump
That
in
it's
whenever he
shared.
wants. Yeah.
Don't talk to the people. This is getting cut out.
God. Anyways. So the cops are played by Seth Rogen and Bill Hader.
Oh, what a handsome man.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, everybody.
Seth-
Seth Rogen looks so hot in this movie.
He killed that mustache.
It's not the mustache.
You keep
It's
saying
not
it's
the
not the mustache. It is because it frames that part of his face, and that's what you're liking to see. It's
But
also
I
the
disagree.
sideburns.
It's showing off the beard. It's not necessarily the mustache. It's all the jawline that the mustache reveals. So if he would have shaven completely, I'm not saying that it would have looked great, but it would have still got the job done. He looks young. He's got a fresh face. He's got a nice cut jawline.
Look, does it really
Still a
matter
little
why
thick.
he's hot?
Still got a little cushion for the
he
pushing.
just looks
but
hot. He just looks nice. It doesn't
he
matter
looks
why.
So
he just
handsome.
looks nice.
What a handsome man.
He's a handsome man. So
And then we got Bill Hader. He's funny.
Bill Hader's great. I love Bill Hader. Why you gave him such a short thing like that?
Because he's funny. That's all we need to know.
That's not all we need to know. Because you know what, Justin?
What?
I gotta stop this show right now. It's time for the third degree quiz show. Welcome to the Third Degree Quiz Show. I'm your host Ryan Diaz. I'm joined by our contestant. What's your name, bud?
I'm Baby J. I'm so happy to be here.
All right, Baby J, don't scream into my ear. Now, Baby J, we here at the Third Degree Quiz Show love to play games. And what we do is we take one thing, we move it 3 degrees, and we ask you a question about it. Now, this movie stars Bill Hader.
Yes.
Bill Hader is credited in Star Wars The Force Awakens as a voice consultant for BB-8.
What?
Now,
Why?
now,
Why
can
Bill
you-
Hader? Okay, continue.
question is, the question is, who else was consulted on this role? Now, will Justin know this answer? My answer is no. Justin will not know this answer. However, I do a good job, I think, of every time I do a third degree quiz show, I bring something in that Justin knows a lot about, that he loves a lot. And
This is my genre of expertise.
he
This is
loves Star Wars.
Loves Star Wars.
He knows Bill Hader, and he loves the answer to this question, but he will not get it.
No. So it's someone that I know, someone that I like. He wouldn't just name a random voice consultant because at first thought I was thinking that Bill Hader is a funny guy. He's not known for his robots or droids or any of the sort. Nothing technological. He's a very funny guy. So I was thinking the other guy has to be a more technical person, has to be like the actual consultant, whereas Bill Hader's the funny guy. But now I think that's wrong because you're telling me that I'm going to love who the answer is.
And do you know any
I won't
other?
Get it.
Well, you
so
won't.
It has to be random.
I know you won't get it. It's not random. Well, it's not random. It's random, and I don't think either of these people should have been brought on for J.J. Abrams' Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Oh God.
However, they did a great job. Does BB-8 not sound good?
So it has to be. Of course, he sounds great. He sounds amazing.
All right, Gerald,
BB-8
go ahead and put that 30 seconds to the clock.
Shit. Oh, man,
No
I'm not
pressure,
gonna
but
get
Gerald
this.
has put on the 30 seconds.
All right. Well, Bill Hader. I'm thinking of people who have starred beside Bill Hader because in all this Hollywood, there's a lot of politics. There's a lot of like who knows
seconds.
who going on. So
I'll give you one hint. This
Give it to me.
person has recently gotten a large boost in their fame. Not necessarily in a good way, but it came from a good place. And has nothing to do with the good place.
I feel like that, if anything, just like put me on the wrong direction. Now I have no idea what's happening.
Well, think, okay.
Oh, man. It's got to be another funny guy. Who's a funny guy who makes cool sound effects? Bee-boo-bop-bop-ba-doo-bop-bow. Skibidi-bop-bop-ew.
All right, Justin, we're running a little long here. I got to go 10,
Ah!
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
I'm going to guess
One.
Jim Carrey. I know it's wrong, but Jim Carrey. Who cares?
Oh my god. It pains
got
me.
good sound
It pains me
effects.
so much that you're so close. You're like adjacent because of the
mean?
project that they're both in. That's very new. It's very new.
Oh!
One more.
It's,
One more.
It's Ben Schwartzen!
I'm not going to give you that point.
Yes.
I'm not going to give you that point.
No, you gave that to me.
No.
You 100%.
It
was a hint plus
60
the extra
seconds of
hint.
deliberation, and then I
I
gave you
lose.
all of the hint laid out. But yes.
No, I agree. I
Ben
lose. You gave it to
Schwartz
me.
and Bill Hader,
Thank you for getting me there.
voice consultant on BB-8 for Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
I just have one word for you.
What's that?
In a phrase of a question.
What's that?
Why?
Couldn't answer. I'm not J.J. Abrams. Thank you guys
Okay.
for joining
Moving
us for
on.
the Third Degree Quiz Show. Anyways, you can jump back in the notes now. Thanks, Justin, for that. It was literally right
man.
under where we were. That's why I was like, "Are you in my notes right now?"
Oh, okay. If I would have seen that, I would have been pretty upset. So that's appropriate.
Exactly.
My second, if you wouldn't have got me there, the same project, I would have. My next one was Jack Black because you said so close, and I was like Jim Carrey, Jack Black, both same style, not the same project. So gotcha.
It was really close. That's why I was like, "Damn, I can't believe he," like he said, the person that's in the only movie that I can think of with Ben Schwartz. You know what I mean? Besides the other one.
Yeah, that's the only like mainstream Ben Schwartz thing besides Parks and Rec.
What is that? 3-2? Yeah.
Yeah, you are up. You are up 3-2.
I'm so great at my life. All right, back into it. So, distraught at having neither no alcohol or the $100, Seth and Evan Seth starts to panic just a little bit. And he's talking to Evan about why Fogle doesn't matter and why none of this matters. And he backs up and he gets hit by a car.
I just want to stop you right there.
What's that?
This is at the point where I was like, okay, I should be taking notes because this is the second time first time he got hit by a car. But right before he got hit by a car, he was yelling at his best friend for something that he was responsible for. He got himself into the situation. He put himself deeper into the hole by fucking it all up, basically, you know?
Yeah.
And then push Fogle into doing something else. He's manipulating his friends to get his selfish intentions across. And right when you hit that cataclysmic moment of where he's blowing up on his best friend for no reason, he gets smacked by a car. And I was like, that is the perfect retaliation. And it wasn't extremely obvious. It wasn't like, a villain just lost in the middle of their evil speech,
Well, here's the thing. When you describe it the way you just did, it does become very obvious to me that it's like the perfect plot device, in this moment.
Yeah.
When he is being his most dickish, we see him get struck down, and then we're moved immediately into another plot point because we now have a solution to the problem we just literally got because of him.
Yeah, it works its way into my theory of that this movie is organic in that it moves from action to action, but it still fits thematically.
Yeah, it's you know, I'm gonna say it. This is a masterpiece of a film. We should bump it to
I
a
would
9.
agree.
We should.
I would also
I can't wait
agree.
to get to the ratings. Anyways,
We're not rating there, but
Yeah.
yeah, this is
so
going well.
he's driven by he's getting hit by a car who is driven by none other than Joe Lo Truglio, which we all know from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's in a bunch of other shit. We're not gonna get into it, but
No,
he's in a lot.
like a side character in so many
things. Yeah. Oh my God, he has a really high pitched, shrill voice in something, right? God, I can't remember what it is, but someone has to go to baseball games with him, and he's all, "I love it. It's crazy." I can't remember what it is.
Is that Benchwarmers then?
No, like they have to go to like sports games as his friend. He works out with him. Someone works out with him.
Oh yeah, and then he's
then
like,
"Do you want
forced
to go to
to
this?"
do
Yeah,
something.
and he's like, "Oh, I don't like going to games. I mean, I don't want to go to games because this guy yells like all crazy. He's got a high pitched voice." God, what movie is that?
What movie is that?
Oh,
I Love You, Man. It's I Love You, Man.
it is. I Love You, Man.
That is also a great movie.
So yeah, Francis, played by Joe Lo Truglio, gets out of the car. He's all like, "Please don't report me. I'll do anything. I'll literally suck your dick right now. Pull it out." He didn't say that,
Yep.
but he basically is saying he'll do
Basically
anything.
did.
And
He
Seth
was giving
goes,
him a lot of eyebrows.
"Oh yeah, you'll do anything for you? You'll do anything not to get reported? Oh yeah? Ow, my leg hurts.
Mhm.
I'm gonna call the cops. What are you gonna do
Mhm.
for us?" Joe's like, "Please, I'll do anything." And Seth goes, "Will you buy us alcohol?" And he goes, "Dude, I have like $17 in my wallet right now." He gives him the $7 or whatever. He's like, "Dude, this is not enough." He's like, okay. I'm going to a party right now. Come with me. You can get alcohol from there.
Yeah, totally not sketchy. Totally
Yeah,
not sketchy at all.
Seth is like, "Okay, fine, let's do it," because he's got a one-trail mind. He's trying to get laid. He thinks he needs the alcohol in order to get laid, and that is the only way he's going to do it.
Yep.
So with his one-track mind, he convinces Evan, who's very apprehensive, to get in the car, and they head to the party.
So it's at this point also that we're getting a scene change. I want to say that this is the end of Act 1. Act 1 is getting our mission for the movie, which is getting the liquor. We already know that. And then we're, deep into the plot. We're already trying to get the liquor. We already got Fogel in trouble. And it's at this point when we diverge the Fogel storyline and them two. We also get a scene change. Not only are they driving to the party, but during the car ride, the sun starts to set.
Yeah, it becomes
we start to
night.
get like the nighttime
Right.
setting. So now we're right into Act 2 right now.
Yeah, this movie takes place Act 1 in the daytime, Act 1 in the night. Act 2 in the night. We'll follow each story individually, and we'll follow the Seth and Evan story first. So Seth and Evan get to the house.
Mm-hmm.
They're at the house party. They're hanging out. Shortly after, they've been there for a little bit. Francis, who's Joe Truglio again, starts getting beat the shit up by Mark, who is the
party homeowner guy.
the homeowner, who's played by Kevin Kerrigan, who's in a bunch of stuff. Most notably, probably Pineapple Express, I think.
Yeah, I remember him in that.
He's been in a lot of stuff, though.
I love that this Joe Truglio character is just in deep shit with everybody.
Oh, yeah.
He's very sketchy, but he doesn't outright do anything bad to our main characters or anyone else, really.
Really.
He doesn't affect anyone else. He starts using his phone.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little weird. Maybe he's done something in the past to, rub Mark the wrong way, and he shouldn't be in the house just using his stuff just like that. But we never actually see him do something wrong. He just gets shit on repeatedly.
He punches Mark in the face at one point, and we do hear at the beginning that he has a warrant out for his arrest for a non-violent crime. But other than that, we don't actually see him do anything bad. So you're right. It's like weird.
We don't know what the warrant of the crime was, and he only punches him after he's already been thrown out of the house physically.
Yeah. While they're fighting and all that, Evan gets all pissy at Seth for dragging him to that dangerous party. And he says, "I'm not going to allow you to dictate my friendship anymore. Like, this is bullshit, whatever."
Oh,
Yeah.
the foreshadow of the conflict of this relationship.
Seth goes back to the party after accusing Evan of deserting him as a friend. And he tries to steal some alcohol.
Yeah, which is very thematically appropriate. We already know Seth's problem. He's a selfish, megalomaniac asshole who
Exactly.
just uses people to get what he wants. But at this point where we see the silent problem of Evan doesn't say what he wants and actually intervene when maybe he could have stopped all these negative things from happening.
Exactly.
Instead, he enables Seth. He is kind of like his little slave boy. He does anything that he says. It's at this point where he puts his foot down where, yeah, you should be putting your foot down. It's too little, too late,
Yeah.
You can't bottle up your feelings and then let them explode and then desert your friend because that
No.
doesn't actually solve anything.
Exactly. And you end up being the enemy in your own story. Like, what are you even supposed to do at that point?
Exactly. Your actions don't really justify all the wrongdoings that someone else did.
So while Seth is back at the party, he's dirty dancing with apparently Mark's menstruating girlfriend. And he winds up with this giant blood stain on his pants. Mark sees this, obviously, and knows that his woman is menstruating, is doing this to people, or to him at least.
Because he's also got a matching one.
Yeah.
We're blood brothers.
Exactly. And at this point, Seth had run down to the basement, tried to get the blood off his pants. He sees 2 laundry detergent bottles and a giant fridge full of beer, so he decides to fill up the laundry detergent bottles with beer and carry them out.
And we can assume that he does not wash the laundry detergent out of it first.
Right. Yeah. Well, he tries to like dump it all out, but I don't. It doesn't. It looks, the beer's green when they get to the party. Okay, that's the end of the story.
Yeah.
So
we're not going to talk about all the poisoning that all those kids got after that.
Right. Exactly. So Mark picks a fight with Seth, and right before that, Evan was trying to call Becca, but he couldn't get a good reception on his cell phone. So he goes back into the house. He uses a landline, and then he finds himself trapped in a room with a cocaine-snorting thugs, who mistakenly think that he's Jimmy's brother, the singer.
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh, you're Jimmy's brother. You're Jimmy's brother. And it's so funny because Joe Truglio, the second he saw it, he was like,
you know what? You look like this guy Jimmy.
You know Jimmy? You know Jimmy?
You look just like his
you
brother.
look just like
man.
his brother.
You look just like
his
my friend
brother.
Jimmy brother, man.
He says it twice, just like that.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when he walks, once all the people walk into the room that Evan is in trying to call Becca, you very much tell this is the cocaine room. You got like tiger posters on the wall, all these psychedelic posters.
Yeah, the ambiance is very, very, very clear.
Very cocaine ambiance. Agreed.
He starts to sing "These Eyes" to kind of keep himself out of trouble.
These eyes.
Never gonna love me
with you.
So anyway, someone busts in the room. So there's a fight outside. There's a fight outside.
Fight!
So everyone runs out the room, and it's Seth getting beat up basically. But he ducks at the right time. He moves around at the right time, and basically he starts a brawl with everybody else except for him and Evan. So he grabs Evan. Yep. They get out and they run away with the 2 large laundry detergent jugs full of beer.
And full of laundry detergent residue.
Right. And it's at this point I'd like to take a step back, go a little bit back to the liquor store, and follow Fogel's story. Meanwhile, while all this is happening, Fogel was not arrested by the police, actually. In fact, Slater and Michaels, Bill Hader and Seth Rogen, actually seemed to be impressed with his taste of alcohol and his ability to take a punch. So he winds up spending the night with them and gets to subdue a violent drunk by not tripping him at all. Instead, the drunk slips on his own.
Slips on his own, bangs his head. He gets all the credit.
Yep. They have their own. They have some beer. Get some beers to go. And yeah, they have a great relationship by the end of this little scene. Like
it was cute. It's a little father-son moment. They really want to take him under their wing. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. They have a very casual attitude towards being a cop. You know, they have no procedure for it. They just kind of let off their guns in the air and they let Fogel hold the gun and they take this guy in custody with Fogel right there in the next seat. Like they're pretty chill. They're relaxed. So then Slater and Michaels get to receive a call to break up a fight at the party Seth and Evan were at. So they head over there with Fogel, and they actually run into Seth with their car, knocking him to the ground, making this the second time that Seth has been struck by a vehicle.
And it's so perfect because I love a good diverging story path, and I love when they come together so well, you know?
Right.
And they really just knocked together.
And
because not only is he knocking him with the car, when they're on the ground, the moment where Fogel steps out, he's smoking a cigarette, he's just hanging out with cops, flicks it onto the ground, and they both look up, and he's there. It's such a great moment, and it only lends itself to the theme.
Fargle. So funny.
Fargle.
Yeah. It's also funny how, like, in this sense, Seth was telling Evan, you deserted me. In the same sense that they were arguing before, he got hit by a car at this cataclysmic moment of like we're fighting, we're at the peak of our fight, we're about to fight. Like, you know, they never really get to get any of it out. And then
this really is like the peak of the fight because it's right before this that Evan lets loose, like he always does, bottles things up and then lets them loose, that he thinks he's slowing him down.
Yes.
He's saying, you know, I got into Darth Myth. I'm sorry that you're not smart enough. I don't know what you want me to do. You want me to stay here and just do nothing? And then he lets loose that we've just been dicking around all high school. We haven't gotten any girls. We haven't gotten any friends. All because of you. It's all your fault. and it just their conflicts of relationship really just comes to head right in that moment, and then he gets hit by a car.
Yep, and gets hit by a car right then.
Perfect.
So the cops decide they're gonna arrest him. They're gonna arrest both of them to try to
make it look like
seem
it was
they
their
didn't.
fault.
Exactly. But while they're devising a plan to
He
take care of the
sees
car,
his point of exit.
Yeah,
I felt this moment.
well, Fogel
We've been
walks
comparing
out.
ourselves. We've been comparing ourselves to these people at this moment, but at this moment when everything is slow motion and Evan is seeing all his paths line up, they're distracted. Fogel's here. This guy distracted. He books it. He starts running. He starts running away. These guys freak out. They start shooting their guns into the air to try to scare him out. Seth also runs away.
Yeah, so Fogel comes out of the car, and Seth and Evan see him, and then immediately Evan darts out and starts running. And so Michaels runs after Evan. Fogel and Seth start running away. So Slater gets in the car and tries to follow them. Evan gets away, and then the three of them meet back up and then start running towards Jules's party. So they get on a bus to go to Jules's party, and then they see the bum that was in the car earlier that got unarrested by Slater.
Oh, God.
They have a little fight. They get kicked off the bus, and then they're only a few blocks away from the party. So, hey, it's at this point we realize our heroes have not only gotten the alcohol, gotten through all the bullshit of the night, but they're 3 blocks away from the party. They've done it. They've essentially gotten the alcohol to the party.
Yep, we have completed our mission. We took a little detour. Didn't exactly get the Gold Slick vodka. It's currently on the floor of a bus right now. But we have arrived into the 3rd act, and we are ready to do battle.
Yes, it's time for the party. And it's at this crucial moment that we find out that Fogel, also going to Dartmouth, is going to be rooming with Evan, and they've already made that decision. And it breaks Seth's heart for whatever reason.
To Evan's inability to express his feelings and talk to his best friend and express his emotions, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Seth is all mad about it, and but they decide to go into the
their
party, have a good time
separate
anyway.
Ways. Right.
Yeah.
Separate ways into the party, which kind of leaves everybody in a weird mind state as well.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. Becca's already there. She's drunk as shit. Evan learns that she spent the evening getting really drunk and announcing her intentions to blow him.
Yeah, 3rd act Becca is really difficult to watch.
She's difficult to work with, difficult to watch, hard to be around.
I was saying either she took many a shots during the filming, or she's an excellent actress.
She must be an excellent actress.
She's very good at playing that classic drunk girl, just all over the place.
She finds Evan. She drags him to Jules' bedroom. Then there's this weird, awkward, cringy 3 minutes of Evan wanting to be really careful with his vintage clothes and Becca wanting to suck his dick off.
Right.
And then she throws up all over her bed, all over Jules' bed. Sorry.
Go get Gabby.
Right. And if you're wondering at this point if Seth has some better luck with the girls, you're wrong. He has no greater luck. He thinks that Jules will only sleep with him if she and him are both drunk. So he gets fucked up beyond the point of return. But he's surprised to learn when they have a conversation that Jules actually doesn't drink and that she would prefer if they hook up when they're both sober.
Which also lends itself to the theme that they have great chemistry because they were having a great conversation. She's into it. She's not saying, I don't want to do this, never mind. She's saying, maybe at a different time, you're really drunk.
Right.
So he's taking actions that is putting himself in the negative light where he himself is a good person and can do great things,
Yeah. I can see that, yeah.
And then also Evan wanting to be a good person is not saying what he feels. He's not saying oh, maybe we shouldn't do this at this time and all this stuff. He's saying, oh, my vintage clothes and I just don't know what to do. I can't process all this.
Yeah. That was a big problem for me because he was saying no, you don't want this. But she wanted it when she was sober. She wanted it when she was drunk. That's not a good excuse. But the actual excuse is the truth. So just say the truth. You're not ready for it. You don't want it to be this way.
Yes.
So once Seth learns out that Jules wants them to hook up only sober, Seth passes out, and on the way down, his head slams into Julie's head, giving her a huge black eye.
Oh, my God. Imagine the weight of a Jonah Hill coming down full force on your eyeball.
She says, oh, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
Which
at this point, I realized because in a PG-13 movie, you only get the one fuck, and it cannot be in a sexual way. It's at this point that I realized I think this is our first rated R movie that we've done.
Oh, wow. I think you're right. When we actually watched the unrated version even, so...
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't even rated.
So we got all those juicy, detailed dicks.
All the juicy, detailed dicks. I love it. So yeah, Jonah Hill passed out on the floor. He's got like 3 seconds of actually being passed out before he looks up and sees red and blue lights. And guess who it is? It's Slater and Michaels back at it again. Bad boys, bad boys. What you gonna do?
What I would give to have 2007 Seth Rogen arrest me while I'm naked in a bed.
Okay, so
All right, we can cut that.
I'm not cutting. I'm keeping it in.
Yeah, stay it in.
The cops.
Seth, if you hear me.
Oh my god. The cops come
fine.
back to the party. They start to break everything up, and Seth decides this is the point where he's going to go save Evan. He can't leave him behind.
Gotta save Evan.
So he rushes inside to find Evan, and he's drunk and passed out, so he carries him to safety.
Aww.
And then Michael and Slater bust in on Fogel, about to have sex with Nicole, who is played by this woman named Aviva, who I don't know.
Aviva, that sounds like a fancy water brand.
Mm-hmm. Now, a funny fact about this little scene, Mintz Plasse was actually only 17 at the time of filming, so he actually was a teenager. And as a result, his mother was required to be present during this sex scene.
Oh, no.
She had to be on set and watching.
It's so funny because they cut from Michael Cera and his girl doing the awkward thing, and then right when she threw up, they cut to Fogel and her, and they're doing it like for real. She's like actually naked in lingerie.
Yeah.
She's actually rubbing up on him. They're having a great time.
I would give some
So
of
that
Fogel's acting chops to the fact that he must have been shitting his pants, because I would be so scared and nervous. And like my mom's there, that's fucking weird.
Right, yeah. He was physically shaking.
Yeah. Slater, Bill Hader's all pissy because Fogel abandoned them, but Michaels calms him down. They tell Fogel that they knew his ID was fake, but remembered how much they hated police and wanted to change that for Fogel's viewpoint of police.
Yeah.
Wanting to demonstrate that they could be cool tool, they took him out on patrol, which obviously is all the bullshit that happened. They all agree to be friends, and to impress the ladies, McLovin actually asks Slater and Michaels to drag him away as though he was a dangerous criminal. And they go to a deserted parking lot. They do donuts in the squad car. Bill Hader crashes that shit, and then they trash it.
Mm-hmm.
They throw bottles all over it, and then Seth Rogen has this really manly Molotov throwing scene that made my girlfriend go crazy.
And I'm so sad I missed it. I wanted to hit back so bad.
We could not.
But it's also that point where they're dragging him out, that you see mullet guy hock a loogie onto Bill Slater.
Yeah. Bill Hader.
Bill. Wait, but he's Slater, right?
Yeah, his name is Slater. That's funny.
Okay, so at least I got something right.
Yeah.
But he and he hocks a loogie. He says "fucking pigs,"
And then
he says, "Mm-mm."
Bill Hader pulls out his baton and smacks the shit out of his face.
Whacks him right in the jaw.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He goes, "Nice mullet, bitch."
we love when the villain gets what's coming.
Yeah, definitely. Evan and Seth, they make it back to Evan's house. They make pizza rolls, and they climb into their sleeping bags in the basement. They confess through painstaking drunk conversation that they will always love each other as friends. They hug.
So
They whisper,
cute.
"I love you." This is actually very akin to the first time Justin told me he loved me, but we won't talk about that right now.
Yeah, we won't. But we will talk about this movie and how it's the first time he has expressed any sort of affection for him. Usually it's him saying, "No, it's a dumb idea. No, you're being dumb, Seth." And it's usually justified. He is always being dumb. But in that moment, Jonah Hill used his actions to do something selfless. He ran back into the party in order to grab Evan and make sure he was safe.
He saved him.
Then right after,
They will
when
always
he
be best
realized-
friends after that moment.
Yeah, when he realized that Jonah Hill can use that self-assuredness to actually do good and save him, it's when he actually reveals his feelings.
Right.
Such a cute moment.
It was beautiful. I loved it. I wanted to sing.
Boop,
And then they wake up in the
I
morning.
just wanted to get booped on the nose,
Yeah.
by Jonah Hill in that
Boop,
moment.
boop, boop. So cute. So they wake up and they're all hungover, and they act kind of like it's like a one night stand, which is kind of weird. They go to the shopping mall because Evan needs a new comforter and Seth needs new pants. And then they see Becca and Jules. And Becca thanks Evan for being a nice guy. Seth apologizes to Jules for, hitting her in the head and making a black eye. And then,
All very awkward, but still charming in its own way.
yeah, somehow Becca and Evan decide that they both need comforters, so they're going to go shopping together. And Seth will help Jules buy her makeup to cover the eye that he messed up. And this is kind of where we see probably the most raw moment in the film, I think, besides the I love you scene. We see the boys get separated for probably the actual first time in the movie. And it's kind of a bittersweet moment. They know that the future holding in front of them is going to be different, but they'll always love each other as friends, and that will transcend their time apart.
Absolutely. They're like giving each other eyeballs and everything. Like they're trying to keep up the facade of being, cool guys. We're just gonna separate and hang with the girls, but they're like looking back and forth.
Yeah.
Jonah Hill keeps on looking up the escalator, just staring at Michael Cera like, I'm gonna fuck her, She's still trying to be like silly and funny,
right,
but still physically moving away from each other.
Yeah, it's clear that in this moment they're secure in their friendship, and that Seth and Evan are finally comfortable being apart.
Oh,
that's the end of the movie. The credits come with a bunch of dicks, and
oh yes,
and we hear
the
Seth
dicks
say
that
"I
you
love you"
missed.
at the end as well.
Beautiful.
So I have a few more facts here just for fun. Justin, do you know where it was filmed, right? We already talked about this.
Yeah. This was filmed in Los Angeles.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the high school is actually exterior of El Segundo High School in L.A. The mall scenes were shot at the old Fox Hill Mall, but became Westfield Mall in Culver City, California. Glendale has some other shoots as well. So yeah.
Gotcha.
All right, Justin. Here's our favorite little part. My favorite little part. We should make this a named segment, actually.
What segment are we rating right now?
No, we're doing the budget.
Ooh.
Let's name it.
It's the budget talk!
No. Hold on. The Money Mumble.
It's the Money Mumble. Money Mumble.
So, Justin, how much did this movie cost to make?
Money mumble. I'm gonna say it cost. There wasn't any special effects. There was only filming, but it was in Los Angeles.
There was
so everything's expensive.
one or two slow motion scenes, but
a few slow-mos, and some pretty decent actors, but they weren't exactly big then. I'm gonna guess it was 10 mil.
that's close.
Okay.
This movie cost $20 million to make.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Justin, how much money did this film make?
Oh man, I can't imagine this doing like super well in theaters. R-rated movies usually just get a little bit lower of an audience coming in just because it's an R-rated. It's a very slapstick. It's very vulgar.
All right.
I'm gonna give her 150 mil. We made our money back,
Okay.
and it was decently successful.
Okay. You said 150 mil?
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like I'm highballing right now, but 150.
No, you're actually very close. But your reasoning is off. Because SuperBad actually opened at number 1 in the United States box office.
Okay.
In the first weekend, it grossed $33 million.
33 mil. Wow, that's not
Mhm.
bad. I wonder
From-
what it was up against. I wonder what just came out before.
From
like the week after.
That's from 2,948 theaters for an average of 11,212 per theater.
Okay.
The film actually stayed at number 1 for the second week as well, grossing another 18 million in the U.S.
Okay.
So it grossed 121 in the U.S., 48.4 in Canada, a total of $169.9 million worldwide.
Ooh, I went just under each time. So
Yeah,
pretty close.
compared to the budget of the 20 million, it actually earned a huge financial profit, and it's actually the highest domestic grossing high school comedy at the time.
Nice.
It's only
Yes.
since been surpassed by 21 Jump Street, which also films Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill. That's awesome.
Yep, that's pretty much all I have. There's some other trivia stuff and stuff like that, but I think we should just get into the rating.
Okay. Oh, also Dave Franco. When you said 21 Jump Street, I was like, there's one more person because I mentioned it during the film.
Oh yeah,
Franco.
Dave Franco was in the movie.
Okay, so now for the rating. I love this movie. Can we just skip all of it and give it 10s?
I mean,
no, because we're thorough.
Yeah, but we're thorough. So let's
Likability, execution, engageability.
engageability. Damn it! I want to give it
Girl,
all 10s.
This might be our first
This might be a
10. First
10,
rated
bro.
R movie.
I mean-
first 10, 10, 10.
Okay, likability. Actually, you know what, man? I might give likability
Whoa.
like a 9
Whoa.
because I liked it a
What
lot.
are we doing?
I liked it a lot, but we didn't need all that language, and Seth is kind of a dick for most of the movie.
But I never felt like it wasn't needed. I felt like of course he's being a dick, and this is how we feel. This is how we feel.
Right.
Where we explain how we feel.
Right.
We're not talking about. We're not critics over here.
You're right.
all
You're
we might
right.
be criticizing something, but we're not critics over
I
here.
do feel like it's a 10. I just want to play devil's advocate just a little bit, Justin.
I understand. And if that's the one con about the movie, that maybe it was a little too vulgar at points, maybe they were just throwing things in just because.
If it's a crime, throw me in jail. I feel you. I know. I get it.
Okay, yeah. I'm sticking with my 10. If you want to go 9.
No.
then-
We'll give it. We have to agree. So I'll give you that 10. Justin, we just got to make a point. You know, we gotta make a point.
We don't have to agree.
We do
can't
have
always
to
meet in the
agree.
middle.
No.
We can always, if you do 9 and I do 10, it might be a 9.5.
Oh, God.
Is that crazy? Are we putting decimal points in this bitch?
No, I'm gonna keep it a 10. I'll give it a 10.
All right.
Execution. Okay, this movie did exactly what the fuck it was trying to do, and it did it fantastically. And it has so much deeper meanings that I didn't even think about until we started doing this podcast. So I'm gonna give it a 10. I don't care.
Absolutely everything you just said. Absolutely 10. I never knew that the themes were so subtle, yet apparent, yet appropriate, yet also relatable. You know, especially for me and you, especially for our relationship.
Yep.
So I would give it an absolute 10.
Yeah, absolute 10. Engageability. Fuck. I didn't look away. I was not.
There's not a scene where I didn't want to be like, hey, Ryan, can we just shut up? Can we just watch the movie?
Yeah.
But
No.
obviously, that's not what we're here to do. So
Yeah.
at every moment, I wanted to just watch the movie and just enjoy it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give it a 10. You know what, Justin? We did it. This is our.
It's so engaging.
This is one of our 10s. This is our solid 10 film.
Also,
Our
just
first.
the cringe comedy, the cringe factor is inherently engaging. It kind of like keeps you on the edge of your seat in a tense, odd way.
Yeah.
But it wasn't cringe for cringe sake. It wasn't just 2000 slapstick fart jokes, gags. You know.
Yeah,
It
in
was-
2007, it wasn't as cringy, but it aged in a sense that made it even more cringy, which worked for the film. Like, it made it even better for me.
Exactly, because it's what they wanted to do. They weren't trying to make you laugh and instead cringe. They wanted to make you cringe, and then I laughed because of it.
So, what should we call movies that get a perfect 10 score?
I don't know, like a banger, like a perfect 10, a triple threat.
Triple threat, perfect 10.
There's so many. They hit all my boxes.
I'm trying to
They-
think of something that in the
They rub
theme.
me the right way.
In the theme of this is how we feel. Good feeling? Feeling good,
Good
movies?
feelings. This is a super feeling, you know.
Yeah.
This make
Ooh.
me feeling real
super
super.
feeling?
This is a super feels movie.
Yeah.
This movie puts me in my super feels.
Super bad, super feels.
This is one of the greats.
One of the greats.
is a-
That's it. That's what we're calling it. One of the
Okay.
greats.
That's what's up.
One of the greats. 10. 10, 10, 10,
Episode-
10, 10, 10.
Episode, what is it, 7?
7.
Episode 7. Oh my god, that's
That's
my number.
perfect. That's your number.
Oh my god.
Wow. Episode 7 got our first perfect score.
Well, super feelings, super bad, one of the greats.
Oh my
absolutely.
god. Justin.
And I feel no remorse saying that.
Justin.
Ryan.
Justin.
Ryan.
How do you super feel?
Girl. I don't think about this until it happens. I was enjoying this ride so much that I don't know how to put into words how I feel. So I don't want to say any words. I just want you to boop me on the nose. That's how I feel. I feel like I just woke up and you have just saved me from the worst night of my life, and I couldn't be happier. And I don't need words to express how much I love you or I love this movie or how much I love my life. I just need a boop on the nose to know that everything's okay.
Boop, 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 Justin. I'll give you those boops.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's so great.
And I'll return it back to you and just ask, how you feeling, Ryan?
Oh, you know, I was really engaged in this movie too, and like I said last week, I enjoy speaking from the heart, and I just want to say, these eyes are crying. These eyes have seen a lot of love, and they're never gonna see another one like I had with you. That's how I feel. I feel like these eyes just watched our first perfect 10. Our first, what are we calling it again?
One of the
Our
greats.
first of the greats. Our
I do
first
feel
one
like
of the
we
greats.
are one of the greats right now.
These eyes are never gonna find another love like I did. It was super bad.
I'm crying.
Oh, you're crying?
These eyes
These eyes.
are crying.
These eyes are never gonna you. Okay, and that was the episode. That was super bad. You can follow us at Rusty Ninja Studios. You can follow me at FireVex11, Justin at baby.j. You got anything else to plug? My baby Jake.
Baby.j, Justin Viñas, thank you guys so much for listening. It's one of my favorite movies ever. It's one of my favorite people. So if you guys are listening right now, you're also one of the greats.
Thank you. One of the greats. And as always,
Chicka chicka, yeah, fake ID, fake ID.
This is how we feel. 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 This is how we feel.
That was the one.
Ooh, that was good.
Last one
I
was
felt the harmony.